Hello everyone, I hope you all are doing fine. My name is Moinak and welcome to my channel, The Civil Lad. This is the last part of a 4-part series of WBPSC Assistant Engineer 2014 Civil Engineering paper, and I have solved the 2016, 14, 12 as well as the 2003 paper. So if you want to check them out, the links are provided in the description box. And in this video, I have explained each and every solution in details like always, and also the connected questions that might be asked from a particular section is also discussed here. So if you're new here, do subscribe to this channel and share this video with your friends who are preparing for civil engineering government exams. So without wasting any more time, let's start with the questions. The first question is flow through a siphon pipe stops if the summit is from the inlet. Now, what is a siphon? A siphon is used to convey liquid upwards from a reservoir and then down to a lower level. Once the liquid has been forced into the tube by suction pressure, the flow continues unaided, right? Now, this is a siphon pipe marked in blue. Don't mind my drawing. This is a siphon pipe. Now, we use a siphon pipe if there is an obstruction in this particular part. It might be a mountain, it might be a hill. So, as to convey liquid from reservoir 1 to reservoir 2, we use a siphon pipe, right? Now the level here or the surface here is subjected to atmospheric pressure, right? This surface is subjected to atmospheric pressure, and even here it is subjected to atmospheric pressure. So if we consider this liquid as water, then the P atmosphere or atmospheric pressure can be written in terms of heads of water, which is 10.3 meters of water. So the pressure at point A or at level A is around 10.3 meters of water. 10.3 meters of water. Now you know fluids flow due to pressure difference. So if the pressure at point B or at summit is lower than at pressure A, then only fluid would flow from A to B. Therefore, theoretically, the pressure at point B is around zero, but practically it is not possible. Summit pressure should not be less than the vapor pressure so as to avoid airlock formation at summit, right? This is very important. This point is very important. And for water, the vapor pressure is around 2.7 meters at 20 degrees centigrade. Therefore, at point B, the pressure cannot be less than 2.7 meters. If it is lesser than 2.7 meters, what would happen? Airlock formation would occur here, and the flow would stop. And the flow would stop from A to B. Therefore, the difference in pressure is 10.3 meters minus 2.7 meters, which is the vapor pressure. So the difference in pressure is around 7.6 meters of water. So the question is flow through a siphon pipe stops if the summit from the inlet. This is the summit point and this is the inlet. So this height, if it is greater than 7.6 meters or 7.5 meters, let's say, the flow would stop. So the answer is C. The answer should be C, greater than 7.5 meters. You can very easily cancel these two options because less than 5 meters and less than 10 meters, it can be any value, right? It can be 0.1 meters, it can be 0.2 meters. The flow would not stop at zero point 0.2 meters heads of water, right? So the options that are remaining are A and B, A and C. So the best option according to me is C, greater than 7.5 meters, right? Next question is if the magnetic bearing of sun at a place in southern hemisphere is 167 degrees, the magnetic declination at that place is. Now what is declination? Declination is the horizontal angle between magnetic meridian and true meridian. And the magnetic meridian in this particular question is given as 167 degrees. And the true meridian here is 180 degrees. True meridian here is 180 degrees. Now, declination is of two types, declination towards east and declination towards west. If the magnetic meridian is towards the eastern side of the true meridian, it is known as declination east. So this is the declination east, and the declination east value is given by true bearing minus magnetic bearing, which is 180 degrees minus 167 degrees, which comes out to be as 13 degrees. So the declination east is 13 degrees, or the declination is 13 degree east, whatever you can call it. Next question is minimum time of diversion of traffic after repairing of road is. Now for roads, the finished surface shall be open to traffic preferably 24 hours after rolling the bituminous macadam. But in special circumstances, if the road is required to be opened earlier, it may be done, provided the speed of vehicle is restricted to 15 km/h. This is very important. Also, when bitumen emulsion is used, road may be open to traffic, but not earlier than 4 hours. Not earlier than 4 hours, but preferably 24 hours. So the answer for this particular question should be minimum time of diversion of traffic should be greater than 4 hours, and according to the options given here, it should be 6 hours. It should be 6 hours, but the preferred time is always greater than 24 hours. The preferred time is always more than 24 hours, but the minimum time after which you can open traffic is 4 hours or greater than 4 hours. According to the options, it is 6 hours, right? Next to the next question, if a 4-hour unit hydrograph on a certain basin has a P coordinate of 80 meter cube per second, the P coordinate of a 2-hour unit hydrograph for the same basin will be. Now, what is a unit hydrograph? It is a direct runoff hydrograph which results into unit depth of rainfall excess occurring during a storm of uniform date of a specified duration of d hours, right? Now, with reduction of unit hydrograph duration, 1 centimeter excess rainfall will occur in reduced period. Therefore, the P coordinate of unit hydrograph will increase and the time base will increase. So, with reduction of unit hydrograph duration, 1 centimeter excess rainfall will occur in reduced period. Therefore, the P coordinate of unit hydrograph will increase and the time base will decrease. So, therefore, the answer should be greater than 80 meter cube per second because the unit hydrograph duration has been reduced from 4 hours to 2 hours. If the unit hydrograph's duration is reduced, the P coordinate increases and the time base decreases, right? Next question. Quantity of bitumen per 10 meter square area required for first coat of surface dressing is. Now this is the chart that you can follow. For first coat for bitumen, it is around 17 to 19.5 kgs per 10 meter square. And for second coat, it is around 10 to 12 kgs per 10 meter square. Also for tar and cutback, the values are given here. You can remember this chart as well. So the nearest option here should be 14 kgs, should be A 14 kgs, right? But the exact answer is around 17 to 19.5 kgs. Next question is concrete pipes are joined by. Concrete pipes are joined by. Now concrete pipes can be joined by flush joint as well as collar joint. So the answer should be D. The answer should be both flush joint and collar joint. Next question, in case of pre-tensioning, the tensioning force should be applied. Now, in case of pre-tensioning, the tensioning force is applied gradually and uniformly. And in case of post-tensioning, the tensioning force is applied in steps or in stages. For post-tensioning. Also, what is pre-stressed concrete? It is basically concrete in which internal stress of suitable magnitude and distribution are used so that stress resulting from external loads can be counteracted to a certain degree. There are a few advantages as well as disadvantages of PSC members. You can read these through. Also. The types of pre-stressing. The types of pre-stressing are pre-tensioning and post-tensioning. Pre-tensioning as well as post-tensioning. In pre-tensioning, tendons are tensioned. Tendons are tensioned prior to the concrete being cast, and in post-tensioning, tendons are tensioned after the surrounding concrete structure is cast. The examples of pre-stressing are or pre-tensioning are railway sleepers, electric poles, floor slabs, beams, etc. And in case of post-tensioning, the examples are concrete girders and various other concrete structures, right? So the answer for this particular question should be A, gradually and uniformly. Next question, a rectangular beam is to be cut from a circular log of wood of diameter D. The depth of the strongest section, it should be strongest section is, right? Now this is a circular log of wood. And this is the rectangle with dimensions B and D. Capital D being the diameter of the circular portion of wood and the diagonal of the rectangle as well. So according to the properties of rectangle, B square plus D square is equal to capital D square. This is the equation 1. Now the section modulus for the given rectangular section can be written by I by Y, which is equated to BD square by 6. We just replace the value of D here. The section modulus comes out to be B by 6 into capital D square minus B square, right? Now for section to be strongest, we need to equate this portion to 0, right? We just replace the values and the B value would come out to be as capital D by root 3, right? Now if we replace the B value in equation 1, the depth of the rectangular section would come out to be as root 2 by 3 times capital D, or the diameter of wood. So the answer should be D. The depth of the strongest section is root 2 by 3 times D, or the diameter of circular wood, and the width or the length of rectangle is equal to capital D by root 3. You know both of these. Right? Next question is, a hydrograph is a plot of. Now, PSC seems to love this question. They ask you almost every year about hydrograph, and this question specifically. Now, a hydrograph is a plot of stream flow against time, or discharge against time, right? Next question, minimum frequency for field density test for compaction control is related to mass work is. Now for field density test frequency, this chart is followed. For site area greater than 1500 meter square, the number of tests is the maximum of these three criterias. These three criteria, right? Now one test per layer or 200 millimeter thickness per materials type per 2500 meter square, or one test per 500 meter cube distributed evenly, or three tests per visit. Whatever is the maximum number of tests out of these three is considered to be the number of tests. Also for site area 500 to 1500 meter square, this 2500 meter square changes to 1000 meter square for the first criteria. For the second criteria, the 500 meter cube changes to 200 meter cube, and the third criteria changes to one test per allotment per layer. Whatever is the maximum number of tests is considered as the minimum number of tests that needs to be done. And for site area less than 500 meter square, these are the values that have been changed, and the maximum number of tests is considered here. So considering in this question they have asked for greater than 1500 meter square, the nearest or the exact answer should be 1 in 500 meter cube. 1 in 500 meter cube is the minimum frequency for field density test for compaction control related to mass earthquake, right? Next question, higher efficiency removal of suspended particulate matter less than 1 millimeter can be achieved with. The answer for this particular question should be bag filters. Should be bag filters. Now, bag filters or fabric filters gets high efficiency collection of particulates. Design efficiencies are usually greater than 99.5% and is the main alternative to electrostatic precipitation. Now, electrostatic precipitators are used for particle size greater than 1 millimeter mainly, but it also can collect submicron particles, right? So the best answer according to me should be bag filters for this particular question. Next question is, minimum thickness of Lean's concrete layer below foundation concrete should be. Now the thickness of lean concrete layer should be 100 millimeter minimum unless otherwise specified. It is placed on soil to seal and provide a clean and level working surface to build the foundation. So the answer should be A. The answer should be A, 100 millimeters. Next question, if a cohesive soil specimen is subjected to a vertical compressive load, the inclination of the crack to the horizontal is, answer is 45 degrees. The answer is 45 degrees. Next question, according to the Bharat Stage 4 norms, air pollution which are monitored for petrol driven vehicles are. Now, according to Bharat Stage 4 norms for petrol driven vehicles, mainly carbon monoxide and hydrocarbons are monitored, right? Also, nitrogen oxides and particulate matters are also considered, but the most important are carbon monoxide and hydrocarbons. The answer should be D. The answer should be D. Next question, a tank of 5-meter length, 2-meter wide, and 2-meter depth is completely filled with oil. If it is accelerated along the length at the rate of 1.5 meter per second square, the amount of oil remaining is. Now this is the tank. This is the tank with depth 2 meters, length 5 meters, and the width in this particular portion is also 2 meters. Now it is accelerated along the length. The acceleration value is 1.5 meters per second square. Now if it is accelerated along the length, what would happen? Some amount of liquid would spill out. Some amount of oil would spill out, right? So the oil that would be remaining, all oil that have been spilled out, we need to calculate that volume of oil. We considered this portion as a triangle, and this value we need to find out, right? So in order to find this value, we need to find the tan theta value, which is given by the acceleration divided by the acceleration due to gravity, which comes out to be as 0.1529. Now since we have already found out the tan theta value, we can easily find the value of x, right? Perpendicular by base. So the x value, if we replace the values, comes out to be as 0.7645 meters. This value comes out to be as 0.7645 meters, right? Now we just need to calculate the volume of this particular section. Also, the volume of tank is given by 2 into 2 into 5 meters, that is 20 meter cube. Now the volume of oil spilled is nothing but the portion marked in red, right? This is the volume of oil that has been spilled, which is half into 0.7645, that is this part, times the length, which is the area of this particular triangle. This is the area of this particular triangle times, if we multiply the width, it would give us the volume of oil that has been spilled from this particular tank. So 3.8225 meter cube of oil has been spilled from the tank. So the amount of oil that has been remaining, is given by 20 meter cube minus this particular volume. So the answer would come out to be as 16.18 meter cube. 16.18 meter cube. So the nearest option comes out to be as C. Nearest option is C, 15.29 meter cube. So the amount of oil remaining is 15.29 meter cube. Next question, combined flakiness and elongation indices of coarse aggregates for WBM used in subbase and base course should be. The answer is should not be greater than equal to 30%. Should not be greater than equal to 30%. The combined flakiness and elongation indices should not be greater than 30%. Should not be equal to greater than 30%. Next question, NO2 concentration in air is 470 microgram per meter cube at ambient condition with temperature of 25 degrees centigrade. The concentration in ppm will be. Now the NO2 concentration is given. We just need to convert it into milligram per meter cube. Milligram per meter cube. Now assuming 1 atmospheric pressure at and temperature 25 degree, the concentration is given by concentration in ppm or milligram per liter is given by 24.45 into the concentration in milligram per meter cube, very important, divided by the molecular weight. So the concentration in ppm comes out to be as, if you just replace the values, this is in milligram per meter cube, and the molecular weight of nitrogen dioxide is 46. So the concentration in ppm comes out to be as 0.25 ppm, approximately equal to 0.25 ppm or 0.25 milligram per liter. So the answer should be C. The answer should be C. Next question. The cable carrying a load of W kilonewton per meter of horizontal span is stretched between supports L meters apart. The supports are at the same level and central dip is h meters. The maximum tension in the cable is. Now this is the cable and a UDL, and this is the UDL. Now the vertical reactions are given by WL by 2. WL by 2 and the horizontal reactions is given by WL square by 8H. And the maximum tension in the cable is given by the root of vertical reaction square plus the horizontal reaction square. If we just replace the values, the maximum tension would come out to be as WL by 2 into root over 1 plus L by 4H whole square. The answer should be D. The answer should be D for this particular question, right? Next question is, when bitumen is added to soil, it mainly does what? Now bituminous material which are used for stabilization of soil, generally for pavement construction. The bituminous material when added to soil impart cohesion or binding action and reduce water absorption. Now there are two types of stabilization: sand bitumen stabilization, which is used for cohesionless soil, and the main function is to bind the soil particles, right? Or cohesion is the main function of this particular stabilization. And soil bitumen stabilization, which is used for cohesive soil, the main function of bitumen is to preserve the natural cohesive strength by waterproofing the soil or reducing the water absorption. So if you see the options, all the options are almost correct. Increase cohesion, accelerates cohesion, acts as waterproofing agents, and fills the voids. But the main function of bitumen, according to me, is acts as a waterproofing agent. Bitumen acts as a waterproofing agent. So the answer should be C, according to me, right? Next question. The fluid generally used for grouting is, now cement and water mix is also used for grouting, clay suspension is also used, and sodium silicate is also used. The answer should be D. The answer should be all the above. And also, what is a grout? A grout is a dense fluid that is used to fill gaps or used as reinforcement for existing structures, right? Next question. Which of the following types of sleepers is preferred? Which of the following types of sleepers? The answer is CST 9 sleepers. CST 9 sleepers or Central Standard Trial 9 sleepers, right? Next question. Constituents of road marking materials. Constituents of road marking materials. Now road marking materials are either white or yellow, right? White or yellow, and these are the components. These are the components of the road marking materials. Binders are used, glass beads are used, titanium dioxides are used, inert fillers are used, calcium carbonate is used, and yellow pigments are used for yellow markings. So for white markings, binder, glass beads, titanium oxides, and inert fillers are used. For yellow markings, binders, glass beads, inert fillers, calcium carbonate, and yellow pigments are used, and the proportions are given here. So the answer should be all the above. The answer should be all the above according to the options, right? Next question. A rainfall is considered as acid rain if the pH of the rain is. Now what is acid rain? Acid rain in broad term includes any form of precipitation with acidic components such as H2SO4 or HNO3, sulfuric acid or nitric acid, that fall to the ground from the atmosphere in wet or dry forms. In wet or dry forms, now clear or unpolluted rain has a pH no lower than 5.6 to 5.7. Also, since carbon dioxide and water react to form carbonic acid, which is a weak acid, right? Now, pH of rain, if it is less than 5.6, the pH of rain, if it is less than 5.6, it is considered as acid rain. It is considered as acid rain. So the answer according to me should be C. The answer according to me should be C, less than 5.6. Next question, minimum value of Marshall stability for dense bituminous macadam mix is. Now the minimum stability value at 60 degrees centigrade is around 9 kilonewtons, which is converted to 917 kg. So the minimum value should be greater than this. The minimum value should be greater than this. So the nearest option is A, 1050 kgs. Also, these are the other design requirements for DVM. The flow value should range from 2 to 4. The compaction level should be 75 on each phase. The percentage air voids is around 3 to 6. The percentage voids filled with bitumen is around 65 to 75. So the answer should be A, 1050 kg. Next question. Photochemical smog is caused due to the presence of. Now, what is photochemical smog? It is a mixture of pollutants that are formed when nitrogen oxides and volatile organic compounds react to sunlight and create a brown haze above the cities. Reactions are unburnt hydrocarbons plus the nitrogen oxides react with sunlight, react in presence of sunlight to form smog. React in presence of sunlight to form smog. So the answer should be C. The answer should be C according to the options. Now,